Making fun.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Making Fun, and welcome to our haunted house. We have been working with a local theater company to produce a massive haunted house in this old abandoned warehouse. And while we love making videos for you guys, there was just too much work for us to be able to film everything. So we wanted to break down each of the builds that we did so we could still share them with you.
This was a really fun project that took us the entirety of September and October, which is why we've been a little short on the Halloween videos this year. But trust me, we made a lot of content just all crammed into this space.
All right, let's go ahead and take you on a tour of our zombie haunted house. This is Anthony Stewart and his head. Anthony features moving eyeballs and a severed head that drips blood from the spinal cord. Now, I've created the eyeballs out of ping pong balls, which are attached to a servo and are being run through an Arduino. The spine is dripping blood from a peristaltic pump back here, which is also picking up the water from the same place that it is dropping it. I decided to use the peristaltic pump as part of the circuitry and all the accoutrements that are keeping Anthony Stewart's head alive. So the blood comes through here into his brain and then out the tube here, and then is being drawn back up into the peristaltic pump. So I made the mask portion by taking a mold of my face using aluminum foil. Then over that mold, I put strips of sheets that I had cut up and dipped in Mod Podge. After letting that dry, it was a really strong mold. This gave a nice strong structure for us to build on the circuitry and mechanics to the back of his face. The spine portion right here was made from an actual spine from a Halloween skeleton that we then covered with Mod Podge and cotton balls and painted to look like sinew and goo. These suction cups came from my son's Easter eggs from last year that we cut in half and then hot glued down, and then I painted the hot glue to look like the blood had dripped out and had dried in place. The whole contraption is being held up by thick gauge wire that we wound and wove into a big arch shape where each one of thick gauge wires go into the egg cups, making it look like it's some kind of scientific electrical equipment when really it's all just part of the artistry behind it.
We wanted to make it look like Anthony's neighbor had gotten up and walked away without one of his limbs. This is a hand that just came from a standard bag of random body parts that you can find at a lot of Halloween stores. I covered it in foam clay and then used our Mod Podge and cotton ball mixture to give this some kind of a slightly burnt, meaty texture. And then I painted him red and dry brushed him a couple of different colors, and he is ready to go. The full video of how I did this should be up on our TikTok.
This is our head research facility. We have filled a bunch of pickle jars with water and then dyed the water using a little bit of yellow. The way we got the illusion of heads in the jars is we printed out a bunch of faces that we got off of the internet, and these were specially doctored so that it was the face and then the side of the face and then the other side of the face that were then photoshopped together. We printed that out and laminated it, stuck it in the water, and it really gives a good illusion that there are real heads inside of the jar. This is a really quick and simple way that you could set up a laboratory setting for your haunted house. This is our shaking zombie, and it is made with a motion sensor that is hooked up to a DC motor. Underneath the sheet are two legs that I made by taking a mold of my legs by wrapping them in saran wrap. Then we could fill my legs with old plastic bags to keep them nice and light. They are attached to this rectangular piece of PVC pipe that we have built in a teeter-totter. The left leg is weighing down the teeter-totter. The motor is on the opposite side of the leg, so that when the motor is activated, it bounces back and forth. On its own, it looks kind of janky, but when you put them together and put the sheet over it, it gives a nice illusion. This is our jumping zombie, which we call Papa. Papa is made from a Halloween store zombie that was wrapped in saran wrap and then hit with a heat gun. And then Tia came in and sprayed it with brown spray paint. And this gives it a really nice, just old skin dried out texture. It's really quite disgusting, actually. But the neat thing about Papa is that he is attached to this board, which is also attached to a pneumatic pump. So when I press the trigger button, Papa flies up, and then there is a regulator which controls how slowly he comes back down. This, of course, for our regular viewers is Bob. If you would like to see how Bob was built, we did a full video on this one, so check the link in the description. Bob is powered by a power drill, which moves this pendulum that we have attached to the bottom of the chair. And as the power drill goes back and forth, it changes the rotational action to linear action and then rotates his whole body back and forth. Again, please check out our full video to see how Bob was made.
This hellish beast is Samara. She is our banshee, which Tavis operates with a delightfully blood-chilling scream. Samara is made from an old Halloween skull, and I built up her face using foam clay. She is just painted after that with a little bit of a green wash. Her eyeballs are made of ping pong balls that I then gave another coat of white paint to, and then I used some high gloss paint around her teeth and her nose and her eyes to make her look a little extra moist, like your common Irish bog banshee. Her arms, which are a little funny looking but very scary when they pop out at you in the dark, are made of Halloween cat claw gloves that come with these acrylic nails pre-attached to them. I filled them up with spray foam and painted them to match her skin, and when this thing jumps out at you in the darkness, it is terrifying. This is our spider cave. It is made out of yards and yards of beef netting, cheesecloth, and pull-apart spider Halloween decoration. There are all kinds of spiders all over this place. This is meant to feature an aerial silk artist who is our zombie spider queen in this story. Giant Mama Spider was made by our lovely director, and she is made out of spray foam and balloons, which is just so cool. And then these little guys over here are made out of Halloween dollar store spiders that I spray painted black and put a bunch of yarn onto. This whole construction took me about 3 days and a lot of craziness. And I'm very proud of it, and it's enormous, and I don't know what else to say about it. So I'm gonna just leave. Yeah, okay, let's go see the graveyard, bye.
This is our graveyard scene. It is the final portion of the haunted house. And in this section, we have a motion sensor between these two tombstones that activates a solenoid in a piece of PVC pipe that is holding a bunch of compressed air. Here is our ghost setup. We have an air compressor, which when activated, will fill up this PVC pipe. This is a solenoid for a sprinkler head that when activated will release the air pressure that is inside here. It is activated by this motion sensor right here, which is between the two tombstones. The ghosts are made from duct tape wrapped in a tube, which fits snugly around the PVC pipe, and a tennis ball on top to give it extra weight. To give it that ghostly appearance, we tie some tulle around the piece of duct tape and then slide it over the tube like that. When somebody comes by and activates that motion sensor, the solenoid opens, releasing the air, and the ghosts fly into the air. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode, and I'd like to give a special shout out to Mark Rober and his monthly class. Most of the builds in this haunted house I would have never been able to do if I had not taken that course. It taught me electrical engineering, pneumatic engineering, and mechanical engineering, all stuff I really didn't know. And with that one course, which by the way, I am not sponsored by whatsoever, he doesn't even know me or know I'm doing this, I just really want to give a strong shout out to him and his class and how it had really inspired me to do all of the animatronics here. You know, I used to think that engineering was something that you could only do if you went to college and that's what you studied. But now with the internet and YouTube and all of the beautiful content that's out there, you too can learn how to be an engineer and make it a hobby for yourself. So check out Mark Rober's class on Monthly. I highly recommend it. Thank you so much for joining us.
We also want to give a shout out to as many of the creators as possible that helped us with the artistic parts of this video. We are constantly watching YouTube and TikTok and all the social medias so we can learn how to do all of these things and improve our artistic game with each new project. There are too many to mention here, so I'm gonna link as many videos and TikTok accounts that we used to create some of these projects as possible so that you can go and check them out and see where we get our inspiration from.
Thank you so much for joining us. Please consider subscribing.
What fun!
That was really good. With you. Say something so you're not just standing there.
No, I don't know what
disassociating the
to
whole time.
say.
That's almost creepier.
You're right, him slowly going back to sleep. Our TikTok handle. This is our TikTok handle. Lols. That gives me a really weird, like, shadow on my neck. All right, next.